us in our first live IG chat, where we're going to be talking about business for the culture. This is about how to get your money up. This is about what's coming out of the White House, things that you need to know. This platform, we're going to be discussing the power of the Black dollar and introducing you to disruptors that you need to know about that will help close the racial divide, that will help build our communities, and talking about the power of our dollars. I just want to read for you one of my favorite quotes, and it's from Booker T. Washington, and it said, "At the bottom of education, at the bottom of politics, even at the bottom of religion, there must be a race for our economic independence." And so I keep that in mind when I'm at the White House. So I'm excited that we are building this out, and I'm doing it with my girl, my co-host, Renita Young, who holds it down at Bloomberg Black Business Beat.
Yes, so I host the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. It is a daily 1-minute radio show that focuses on the combination of culture and commerce impacting Black audiences. And so we air on Bloomberg Radio every day. We also air on about 30 or so stations around the country and growing. And so today I'm going to add a little bit more of what's happening on Wall Street and how it may impact your dollar, and as well as a mixture between the two. So there are some things that crossed my desk today that have to do with the Federal Reserve, that even have to do with some companies on Capitol Hill today. So we can jump into that shortly.
Absolutely. Actually, let's go ahead and jump into that. I want to, and I do want to tell people that as we're doing this, we're watching you in the chat. If you have questions, ask some questions. We're going to bring a guest on in just a few minutes, Sinclair Skinner. We want you to ask him some questions as well. We don't just want this to be just a back and forth between us, but we want to know what's on your heart. Hey, Danielle, I see you.
Hey,
hi,
Danielle.
ladies. Hey, what's going on?
I see a couple friends from Chicago. How you doing, Terry and Jaleel? Some people who I grew up with, kind of.
Yeah.
Nice to see you guys.
In addition to that, and like I'm telling Renita, I'll be at the White House later today in the briefing room as Press Secretary Jen Psaki talks to us about what the Biden administration is doing. I oftentimes field those questions from the community. My motto is, when I go in, you go in. So please take advantage of the two sisters you have here that are trying to get you closer to where you want to be creating that wealth legacy. So what stories you have for us, Renita?
So let's start right there about the Federal Reserve. Now, you mentioned some things happening in Washington today. And so today, President Biden chose 3 people for the Federal Reserve Board, 3 important picks. The first one is Sarah Bloom Raskin, and she is going to be she's going to be nominated as the Fed's banking regulator, the top spot. And these are according to Bloomberg sources, by the way. And so he's also going to announce 2 economists to be part of picks for Federal Reserve governors. And the reason why this is important is because of the way that the Federal Reserve will begin to shape the interest rates. The 2 people that President Biden is reportedly, or actually by our sources, going to nominate is, number 1, Lisa Cook and Philip Jefferson. And so Lisa Cook would be the first Black woman pick on the Fed's board, and Philip Jefferson would be the 4th Black man. And so, like I said, the Federal Reserve often shapes how the interest rates go. And so this is important, is because whenever the federal funds rate is raised, that also increases the cost of your mortgage, the APR on your car, also your credit card interest rates as well. And so speaking of that, the second story I'm following today is the story about inflation.
Can I stop you before you do that?
Sure.
Because here's what I want people to know, that the Federal Reserve has basically been an all-white board. And this president came in saying that he was about diversity and inclusion. So this move is very important because he said that he was challenging all of his different agencies across the board to begin to diversify. So not just in policy and how it's put out, but also in representation. And so it is important. It's also important, you know, even depending upon who he picks, for us to know and be familiar with their background. So she just gave you some names. I suggest that you go and look into those people, because now it's about accountability. Okay, I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you for saying that, because so this helps President Biden keep his promise to specifically diversify the Federal Reserve Bank, the central bank that we have here. And so his nominations, they're also going to add experts who are focused on a broad job market focus, a broad job market recovery. We know that the pandemic has really hammered jobs. In fact, we got some data out today that was particularly depressing, to be quite honest. And it shows you the picture of what happened during the last quarter of last year, as well as the entire last year. So you might want to check that out at Bloomberg.com. It was a total data dump. But also looking forward to how this new group, whenever they are confirmed, if they're confirmed, will begin to shape how the Federal Reserve rules from here on out. And so this all comes, guys, by the way, as inflation is the hottest that it's been in 4 decades. And so you've already begun to see how the cost of goods and services have gone up. Your groceries have gone up. I noticed yesterday a particularly cheap piece, a cheap grocery that I would buy from the grocery store was raised about $2-3. And so this is a very practical way that you can see inflation impacting your life. But guess what, though? When it comes to cars, it doesn't look like new cars are going to be any cheaper anytime soon. Kelley Blue Book said that the average price of a new car hit in the U.S., it hit over $47,000 last year. And that's a 14% jump from 2020. So those are some examples of how you're already seeing inflation to impact your life. And so one of the things that I also talk about on Your Money Story, which is my weekly personal finance show, is how you can budget to beat or tame the inflation in your life. And so I see a couple of people on here, by the way, who've been on Your Money Story. Danielle Invest, Danielle Clessy Shirley, and Mahaleta Maha, who is Black Women Are Wealthy at the bottom. Thank you both for joining me here. Go ahead, Ebony, take it away.
No, I'm excited about this. I want us to, on this platform, really lean in. So you dropped some really good gems this morning, and I want to see if anyone, who wrote down that name that she dropped earlier. I'm serious. And I'll be going in today. I'll be asking about that because, those changes did not come. There had to be a group of people who actually sent a letter to the president to even push to have Black people on these boards. And so we have to keep doing that. But I want to bring
our guest. Is he here? He is here. He was here right when we started.
I see Sinclair. Sinclair, you're here. I need you to go ahead. Oh, wait a minute. I'm just going to go ahead and put you in. Here he is. Invite in. Let's see. Hey.
Hey,
you are back down. You hear me? You are.
Okay, all right. What's going on?
Make no mistake about it.
Power to the people and power to the sisters bringing all this wonderful, helpful knowledge and insight. Thank you, sister. Dropping names. Look, I'm making notes. I'm glad we got good sisters in high places. Was it good places, high sisters? Wherever it is. Thank y'all both.
Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. You taking out time of your very fast-paced life to be here.
Your international life. So for all those who don't know, we want to introduce our guest as we talk about today. We're going to talk about the power of the Black dollar. And so with us, we have my good friend, Sinclair Skinner. He is the co-founder of ILoveBlackPeople.com. I'm trying to figure out how you even got that and nobody had already claimed that that URL, like seriously. Mm-hmm. And also he is the co-founder of Mari. It's the first Pan-African Bitcoin wallet. I remember decades ago, you were like, sis, you got to get into Bitcoin. You got into I mean, I got in very late, but I thank you for brothers who are like early starters of that. But we want to get into it.
In the background, I got the Black Blockchain Summit too. I wanted to do I put a little placement right there because we do that every year, and we're having our 5th conference at Howard University this year. So definitely making sure that as it relates to technology and how that intercedes our Black community and how we can leverage that to empower ourselves is so important. And as a entrepreneur and co-founder, I Love Black People is just an extension of that, building a community where we protect ourselves from racial profiling. which is a very important part of this, black dollar. When we go places to go shopping while black is still an issue. And we want to make sure that we're treated well. You don't want your dollars funding folks that might not have our interest at heart. So what we've done with I Love Black People is allow people to crowdsource black-friendly places. There are places that may not even be black-owned, but they treat us with the dignity and respect. So we want to make sure that we use our dollars to support those who value our dignity and respect us. So the whole purpose of this was leveraging a crowdsourced platform using technology to create basically a global network. Now, no matter where you go in the world, that you can feel confident. Like if you get sick in Denmark, it's going to be hard to Google non-racist doctor, but there might be a Mongolian lady that all the black folks go to because she treats us so well. Now you have access to that information by going to iloveblackpeople.com. And again, that's one of the things we can show by our collective work. We just passed Kwanzaa, but our collective dollar, we should be able to make sure we leverage that to support those who support us. So again, I just thank y'all for, giving more insight. I'm kind of giving like a basic message. Y'all giving like that 3.0 message. Talking about the Federal Reserve. I mean, y'all next level. I mean, I'm doing real basic stuff, but I humbly, we're trying to do basics at a very super scalable. There's 1.5 billion people of African descent. So we're a huge population, and we can use technology to connect ourselves in ways that make it very beneficial so that we can work together to do these things. So just thank you, sisters. Though if I don't say this, humbly as a black man, y'all are inspirational. I know sometimes they try to do these wedges. Listen, if it wasn't for a black woman, I wouldn't be here. Y'all are the best. Thank you, sisters. When I see y'all out here, I know y'all got about a bunch of hats on, and you're doing it well. You're representing us. I feel tall. I try to, do my beard a little extra sharper when I saw y'all on here. So I'm trying to be the best black man I can be.
Well, you're doing it.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you.
I appreciate y'all.
Because what we talk about, by the way, we complement each other. It's complementary that the Federal Reserve will eventually impact how you can spend your money. It's complementary, how Black blockchain is being developed for a new kind of audience, So I appreciate you. Thank you. But you know what, Sinclair? Let's talk about that. When you think about the phrase, the power of the black dollar, what actually comes to mind for you?
And this is going to even sound a little, again, so basic. It reminds me of relationships. It reminds me that literally us being able to put these dollars, but really even put our relationships together, we are very wealthy. We always talk about, like, even when we talk about money, we talk about votes, we always talk about first, we got to get together. Literally, even talking to you and seeing both of you, you guys are using your relationships to help us. Like your access, the people that the actual places you're going, we're leveraging each other. And I think if my message for the 2022, dealing with these pandemics, the biggest thing, we're going through inflation, and I'm not talking about mutual aid societies, but literally us working together. I've been bankrupt. I've been an entrepreneur since 1999. I've been signing my checks on the front for a while now. When I didn't have any money, it wasn't money that saved me. It was my relationships. The value of these relationships, I think, is so important as we, in our careers, in whatever we're doing in life. And there's a lot of our friends that are going through bumpy roads. Rest in peace to a lot of our friends that didn't make it through this pandemic. I think the biggest thing I've realized that the power of the dollar has really showed me that really the power of our relationships. And we need to be really, vested in developing that, not just new people we meet. And here's the thing I got, because we're all so ambitious. We're always trying to meet that next person. But we've met some of the best people of a generation already, and we just ain't called them. We just ain't been on the phone with them. Like, hey, let's connect with those 2022, the folks you've been knowing for, like, you even talk about folks from back in Chicago. Like, there's folks that are like your biggest fans, and we just need to be, anyway. So yeah, the black dollar.
I hear you. I've heard someone say, relationships are the most valuable currency you'll have, right? I'm paraphrasing, but I think that's true because it's the relationship. When you think about how businesses are founded, and how there's a huge deficit of or I should rephrase it and say that Black founders aren't able to get VC money primarily because they need the relationships that require, that are required to be able to, get access to that capital.
No, you're Now, I agree
right.
with you. We've been dealing with the VC world, and we've been looking at equity crowdfunding. And I say that I think Deion Sanders, what he did with HBCUs and black and football, is gave me the interest of saying, hey, we have a lot of opportunities within our own community. We just got to re-look at our relationships. Going back to your point, these VCs already have pre-existing relationships. I think we may not have billionaires in our Rolodex. Maybe some of y'all, the way y'all been dropping these names. But for those who don't, we might have some thousandaires. And if you put 10,000 together, that gets to 1 million. And we get another 10 of those. So I think in a real way, if we relook at this, and I think, programs like what you guys are doing, we need to make sure we expose more of our friends and family to, because I don't think we feel as empowered. And again, thank you so much.
I want to ask you, Sinclair, because you are heavily into the Bitcoin space and cryptocurrency. And you and I have had a lot of conversations about that. Do you feel that crypto is a way that's causing disruption that could also bring economic leverage and upward mobility in our communities? How do you see the world kind of shifting as it relates to crypto?
Yeah, I think crypto is a useful tool. I think technology is a useful tool. But I will go back to the point that what I've seen in crypto, and I've been in since about 2012, and I didn't realize this, but what happens, those who are already rich end up buying the most Bitcoin. Let me say another. We used to talk about crypto, about how we're going to disrupt the banks and how we no longer, the analogy used to be a dollar needs something to convey it. So if you look at a dollar as a car, it needs a road, it needs a ACN, it needs a checking account, it needs a credit card for you to take that dollar and convey it to someone. Bitcoin was the car in the road. Bitcoin didn't need a bank. It literally allowed you to do it. But what we didn't, I know I didn't realize that as Bitcoin became more adopted with regulators, it became stronger for these banks to be the ones that tell the regulators, look, we'll be in charge of this. Don't let those crazy tech people be responsible for it. The big banks are now getting more involved in it. And I only bring that up to say that the only thing that's going to save us is each other. I don't think any particular tool is going to actually do, it's really up to us using that tool. So if we use Bitcoin in order to work together to build, foundations that help our families, our parents get sick, or our loved ones when they get laid off or dealing with it, then Bitcoin can be a very good tool. But if we're thinking that just the sake of this technology is going to come, there's not been a technology that saved us. It's always been us. You brought up Booker T. Washington. You sisters are using this technology. Y'all not using this technology to do silly things. You're using this technology to elevate Black people. And they may not talk about y'all. They may not do a survey and bring y'all's names up. But what y'all are doing is what's powerful. So the tech that allowed y'all to do an IG, and we can kind of rap with each other real quick, is awesome. But what's really awesome has been the application of that. So when we talk about Black blockchain, it's really been saying that Bitcoin is great, but we need to make sure more of our people are the ones actually applying this technology to create the world that we want to live in. And don't wait. No one's going to come. So we got to use this technology. We got to understand it. And just, we could have conversations about NFTs. There's a lot of these things that are being sold to people, but a lot of it's hype and some of it just downright lies. So we got to be careful that if somebody couldn't sell you that in your face, don't let them sell you to you on the internet. Just because you don't understand it, don't make it a good new deal. Maybe you need to understand it first. Like, understand it. And I'm not saying understand it like most of us don't even know how IG works or the cell phone works. But literally understand it enough where when someone says, give me your money, that you get what you're getting with your money. So again, I respect Bitcoin has been I've been in the space long enough where I got in, it was like $200 some. I've been very blessed in the space. I've been hacked. So there's a lot of responsibility that you have to take in this. So there's no free ride. Be vigilant and know that this technology is a tool, but we're the ones that have to wield it.
You know what, Sinclair, you bring up a good point, because while a lot of people say that cryptocurrencies will help level the playing field with unbanked, underbanked populations, there is a strong need for the people to understand what they're getting into, because it's a high risk investment. It's extremely volatile. And as we've seen the price swings from the high in November of close to 69,000 all the way down to where it is now to around 42,000, you know, it's a huge risk that people would be taking on. So thank you for letting us know. And so with your platform, with the Black Blockchain Summit, will people be able to get into educational panels or educational rooms teaching people the basics about NFTs and cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, and there's yes, the answer is yes. And there's so many Black folks out here now. There's a sister Nadia Johnson, Cleve Messador is another sister. The Black Bitcoin billionaires, Lamar Wilson, Bitcoin Zay, Reggie Militant. There's so many Black folks in this space now where you can get some credible information. I think with the Black Blockchain Summit, what we try to do is do an intersection with people in social sciences and link them with folks who are in some of the blockchain sciences, so that we can actually see how we can apply these technologies to old problems. So again, it's not just, I think it's very important that we talk about money, right? But again, this COVID has taught us a lot. You can have a lot of money and still die of COVID. You can have a lot of degrees and still die of COVID. Okay, so now that we clear that, and I say this because I used to have people say, well, how does Bitcoin derive its value? Well, there's a word that we use in this space called consensus, because of agreement. There's a day that the market was created called Pizza Day, where literally 10,000 Bitcoin bought 2 pizzas, right? Well, gold is a rock. If you go to the periodic table, AU, gold is a rock. The reason why gold is so valuable is because we agree that it's valuable. Let me say it another way. If you got COVID, 1,000 pieces of gold ain't gonna save you. You better get some vitamin D, or you better have some other things, because it's literally a rock. The value comes because we, through consensus, have agreed that this thing is valuable. With that being said, there's so much of what we've created value for that's really us. Like, we said it was worth a lot. But again, the person with the most goats is probably going to beat the person with the most rocks when it comes down to it. So again, I think it's about us trying to do what you just stated, understand the world around us better so we can make better decisions. That's if you're in the crypto space. That's if you're on Wall Street. People talk about Black Wall Street, but what was some of the first thing they were trading on Wall Street? Now we start getting to those questions, it gets kind of problematic, that we're selling things that might look like us. So we got to make sure that we question everything. I tell people, be skeptical about crypto, but be skeptical about all these things. Don't just be skeptical about me. Be skeptical about all these things. Make good decisions and make great relationships. I've had plenty of business deals that didn't work out, but some of these relationships have been priceless. So yeah, thank you on that.
I know that you are a huge Garveyite, and one thing he said
UNIA, woo!
was liberate the minds of men, and ultimately you'll liberate the bodies of men. And so when you hear that, what comes to mind? Because I know you, many times you talk about changing our way of thinking first when it comes to money, our relationships with money, and in business. But what comes to mind when he says that you will liberate also the bodies of men?
I do think of the fact that we're men and women, women and men. So I think if he had a chance to rephrase that, he would have said women and men, not just men's bodies. With that being said, I think we're definitely have to liberate our minds. I've been listening to a lot of Bob Marley. I know this is going to sound weird, but if you guys check out some of Bob Marley's interviews before he passed away, and again, some people say he might have been killed, but he had some real good understandings of what life was about. He only died at 36. Like, Bob Marley impacted so many, and one of his biggest, of course, Haile Selassie, but Marcus Garvey was one of his biggest influences. And I think it's very important that we realize that, again, Marcus was talking about the value of us coming together as a people. And I think that sometimes we think of coming together in the context of just our value because of only money. But again, I think we bring so much, like just your company today. Like, we didn't exchange any money, but look how valuable us sharing this space is. Like, we don't talk about that, but it's something interesting. Like, I don't know what kind of day y'all had today. I want y'all to have an awesome day. Like, that's the energy that again, when we commodify everything, we lose that. And I know we're adults and we're grown and we're like, professionals. But look, this stuff hard. Like, this stuff is hard. So whatever it is you're going through, I'm glad that we shared this moment and like use this moment to do something to uplift ourselves. And I think Marcus Garvey wanted us. He didn't make it to see this day, but he wanted to see sisters and brothers together, uplifting each other and finding the value in our collectiveness. And this is, I think, a manifestation of that. And I just humbly appreciate the opportunity. I love Black people. Again, and that, I didn't say only Black folks, but I love Black folks. Like, I wake up every day, same T-shirt on, and all we're doing is making sure that we show that we deserve that love. And you don't have to be Black to love Black people. So everybody who truly wants to protect us from racial profiling, please support what we're doing, because it's important to make sure that we can live our lives fearlessly and go anywhere and be treated with the dignity and respect that only God can give us.
Sinclair, thank you so much. We really enjoyed this conversation. It's been really, I don't know, it's been really warming, I guess. I guess that's the best word I can come up with right now. But tell us where we can find you and what platforms we can find you at.
Awesome. Thank you again. So iloveblackpeople.com. Check us out. We're actually going to be coming out with a new app where pretty soon, anytime you walk into a store, it's you can get a push notification and ask you, is this place Black friendly? So just be on the lookout for this app. You download it anywhere you go in the world. It's going to pop up and it'll say, is this place Black friendly? And we're literally in 2022 going to map out a world of warm, wonderful, friendly places for our people, no matter where we are in the world. So thank you so much for that. iloveblackpeople.com.
Thank you, Sinclair, so much. And I wanted to ask, do you have a date for the summit yet?
It's normally the second second week in September, but we'll be coming up with a date. We'll probably have that all ironed out probably in February.
So when I've been to one of them, and I know Sinclair is so love, peace, and happiness, and I've been to one of the summits. The mayor was there. Various local officials came out, and it was really like a pen and pad, or take your phone out, your smartphone, and take notes on how to start kind of interrupting some of the systems that we've had in place that have not really taken us to new levels. And so I encourage everyone to go visit the website and check out the information that you put out.
And the last year, our theme was reparations and revolution. So I know y'all are going and talking to these people in high places. We do have HR 40, which is currently on the floor, that made it through the Judiciary Committee. And again, talking about relationships, we got relationships with our ancestors. It'd be great. It's only a study bill. It's just studying reparations. Do we need a study bill? Probably not. But if we can at least get Biden to at least do executive order or get this passed through the Congress, all it needs is Democrats. We don't need any Republicans for that part of it.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, I know. Right? I did a can of worms.
We'll do that on another day.
Yes, right,
On a
okay,
private chat. No,
yeah.
no. Again, brother, thank you so much. We look forward. First of all, blessings in everything that you do. We look forward to having you back on the platform. Thanks for sharing your wealth of knowledge and for sharing your love this morning. So,
all right, spread the love, y'all.
To those who joined us, thank you so much. So every Friday we'll be here at 10 a.m.
Eastern time.
Eastern Standard Time. So we want to hear back from you. What are the questions that you have? Who do you want to see on this platform? We've got some awesome people that we've pre-booked for the show that are going to be coming on. Some people that you're going to be really stunned, that are excited and said they want to join and show their wealth of information. So don't forget. And then don't forget to follow us on our various pages. Here on AURN Online, you can follow me at Ebony McMorris across all social media.
You can follow me right here at Renita Young.
All right.
Bye, everyone.